Hi everyone, welcome to the Flux Dev meeting, August 26th. We are welcoming Mateus back from his long vacation and he is ready to rock and roll. We have plenty of things to do in Flux. What's quite urgent right now is to get back on upstream Helm. All the fixes that we needed that Mateus contributed are now part of the latest stable release of Helm, right, Mateus? That was released last week.
Yeah, on the 12, 13 actually, on the 13.
Yeah, yeah. So
Helm
we
4.2.4.
do that for okay. So we can plan for a release on Monday, a patch release of Flux 2, but we can start upgrading all the packages, all the. I would start with CLI utils and bump their everything to latest, including the GoX packages like GoX mod and so on.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the interesting thing that happened is Go got released 127,
Mm-hmm.
and I hope Helm is not on 127, right? It's still with 126.
Yeah, they'll definitely not bump it on patch.
Yeah. So Go 127. The formatting has changed again. Go format some things differently. I discovered this in Flux Operator. So I use Flux Operator as a test bench and upgraded everything to 127 there to see if everything works. And the big surprise was two files were reformatted, which is it is what it is. It's crazy that the formatting has changed for Go. So we will definitely have issues with all our CI will broke the moment we bump the version because of this. So we cannot we when we so first we do the Flux patch release and then we are going to do 127. But when we do 127, we need to do it manually, reformat everything, and so on. There are many other changes in the language itself. Iterations over maps have changed, the ordering of maps. Now they have support for generic in functions, which was the thing that was needed for controller runtime, client Go, and others to actually switch to a generic interface that is compact and tight. So I expect um, Kubernetes maybe in the winter or next year to have a client Go and control runtime, which will look different. There are also, from what I could see, big changes in the garbage collector again, optimizations, which is a very good news for us, given the amount of operations all the Flux controllers do in parallel. This will definitely help with sweeping gigabytes of memory for Helm controller reconciliation. On some large clusters, we've seen good improvements for 126 with the new garbage collector, and hopefully now with 127, I'll try to measure this and see how it goes. But reading the change log feels like we will get like a drop in CPU usage for the GC collect. This, of course, is only visible if you have tens of thousands of Helm releases in a cluster and high concurrency on Helm controller. These kind of changes are not for home users will not see any improvements. It's only when you run things at massive scale. So, Mateus, can you do the Helm plus the bump of everything, all the, you know, maybe AWS, Azure packages as well, um,
Cool.
whatever we can
In
get
patch,
safe.
yeah, in patch releases, I try to only bump patches, but of course some packages like the non-GA ones, X, all of them,
Yeah.
never does patches. So yeah, or bump what makes sense.
Yeah, I think so. There are some issues with the Go X mod and X something, and those are assemblers. They are not. They have releases. So I've tested this in Flux operator, which shares like 90% of the Flux dependencies, and everything went okay. But it's built with 127. We are going to stick on 126. So there is a little risk, I don't know, there. But anyway, we have end-to-end tests all over the place. We will see if something goes wrong. So the plan is let's try to get CLI utils and package updated um, today and tomorrow. And
Mm-hmm.
then Monday, I also have some other fixes in some of the Flux shared packages. We also get those in, and then we can trigger in all controllers the automation and should just work, right? Because we are not changing the Go version. So the automation
Mm-hmm.
we have in place should require no manual bumping of anything, unless
Yeah,
backport fails due to conflicts. What happened to me last time?
yeah.
Um,
And also there's that thing I changed in backport recently before. So I changed the protection, right? But just before I also changed making the action file the PR even on
even if it
conflicts.
fails. So that's it is
Yeah, that helps
super
us
helpful.
have, yeah, because now we still have the PR to work with, right? We can push it to the
Yeah, yeah,
branch to
yeah.
fix.
Yeah, and
We
you don't need
don't,
to people to do that because the PR
yeah,
was open under the bot account. That
yes,
actually really helps, right? You don't
yeah,
need to ping someone to stamp
yeah,
20 PRs. Cool. Okay, so we are going to see if that happens. For sure, if it has, if I run into that conflict in source controller, I don't see. I think that conflict will still be there, right, every time. Um, so the conflict happens if you touch a dependency which is close enough. Man, it's so crazy. If it's close enough to the other one, which is unchanged. But if the
mm-hmm,
distance in the file is bigger, no conflict. It's like, how is this git diff algorithm written, man? It's like, why does it
mm-hmm.
matter if they are closer or, yeah, I don't know what's happening. Yeah, anyway. Um, okay. So the plan is update everything that we can, only patch releases, Helm as well. Kubernetes has also a patch release, so that's also safe to bump. I think it will come through Helm. We'll see. Um, this is I know from Flux operator, um, and we should also consider looking at the cloud SDKs. I don't know how safe are these to bump because they don't release patches. They usually release minors. Do we trust the package end-to-end test?
Yeah,
We should, right? Because it touches
yeah,
workload identity, all the things,
yeah,
right?
yeah. And combined with the coverage from Flux 2 end to end is decent, very decent.
Oh, did you manage to unblock the Azure end-to-end tests?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was basically rotation of the creds. There's two.
So they expire
The
every year, right? The
Yeah, once a year. It's a client secret and Azure DevOps personal access token. I had to rotate both.
Could we switch to workload identity in GitHub Actions to get rid of this? Or no, Azure
Yeah,
DevOps, we can't.
I opened an issue about this in Tenju. Do you remember?
Yeah, but
Like, yeah, we can definitely do that. Like
also
we
for
do that
Azure
for the
DevOps.
others. Yeah, yeah, because we just like we use Azure, like Flux has support for workload identity
Right. So we
for
can do
Azure
it through the Azure.
DevOps.
We can do
Right,
the
yeah.
same from the Azure, right? So we can get rid of
Yeah.
this because all the other clouds don't have this issue, right? We don't have
Yeah,
AWS keys.
I think we use workload identity for Google and Amazon.
Yeah. Yeah, because yeah, oh, no, for sure. Because when we onboarded AWS, we did that from start. But Azure
Yeah,
it was the first one that we had end-to-end tests, and it still uses the old school way of talking to the cluster and all the services.
you're right.
Cool. Okay. Any other things we should consider for dispatch?
We don't have any bug fixes, do we?
So there is a thing in customized controller. Some guy opened an issue. Let me paste it here and I'll just talk a little bit about this because I think we should actually get this into a patch. We can contribute this on our own. So what's happening? And I got reports from other users before around this, but I couldn't figure out what's going on. This report, which feels like is made with AI, actually got to the bottom of it. So we tell people, hey, use a RAM disk, store the customized controller temp dir in memory, right? Because if you have NFS or slow, disks mounted on the in the Kubernetes nodes, when you create an empty dir where the temp is in the deployment, it will hit the node local storage or it will go NFS and whatever. And now if you have like this guy, you know, tens of thousands of files all the time, a lot of churn. Customized build hits the disk, so it gets from source controller the whole repo content and it needs to extract it on in temp, then runs customized build on the temp dir, which reads again all the files, right? So there are lots of I/O operations for very small files. NFS is not optimized for this, and it can affect customized controller performance a lot. And we discovered this like many years ago, and the solution was use empty dir with type memory, right? So you set the empty dir in RAM, which adds to the pod limits. Now the biggest problem with and some people said, hey, customized controller is running out of memory often, and we cannot recover it. We need to delete the pod. And the reason now it's in this issue. So what happens is, it, let's say you have concurrency 20. It unpacks hundreds of megabytes of data from the Git repos, if you have huge repos, X20. Then if it runs out of memory, the OMM killer will shut down the process. What kubelet does, it will restart the container. It will restart the process inside the container. So it does not delete the pod. The RAM disk is still there. And the RAM disk holds at least 20 copies of a Git repo. And there is no one to clean them up, right? Because we do deferral for for temp deletion inside the reconciler, but the reconciler was killed. Now you run the controller, a bunch of memory is holding these leftovers. It runs again into out of memory, everything, and the temp dir increases with every restart. There is nothing to clean it up, and you end up in a situation where when kubelet restarts the container, there is no memory left anyway, the moment it starts. So you get into a complete deadlock, right? Even if the process is killed and restarted, it's not the process which is taking all the memory, is the empty dir RAM disk. So the fix is very simple. When we start the controller, we should fire off a go routine that looks at the disk, looks at the temp dir, and deletes all the files, all the directories in the temp dir. And it's safe to do it because every time we create a temp dir for every single reconciliation, we generate a unique UID. We say customization minus a new ID. So even if reconciliation started at the same time with the deletion, it will never delete something that's being reconciled right now. So the first thing at controller start, what we do is we list the temp dir. We take all the names of the directories and we fire off a go routine. So we don't block the controllers at all. We fire off a go routine, which does delete of every directory that we snapshot at the startup before the controllers run. And that ensures we are going to clean up temp without blocking the controller on this operation and without risking deleting everything that's being reconciled at startup, right? Especially at startup, it will try to reconcile everything because that's how controllers work, right? So the amount of temp dirs newly created at startup equals the concurrency. And if you have concurrency 20, 100, whatever, it will create 100 dirs. But if there is no more space to create them because the memory is already filled by leftovers, you get into this. And I couldn't figure out from the reports before why it's happening because no one did an LS on the RAM disk to see that all that garbage is there, right? Because I couldn't find how can customized control when it restarts run out of memory instantly, and they had 8 gigabytes of memory allocated to the pod. It was insane. It's impossible. There is no way customized controller can take that memory, and it doesn't. Customized controller uses 200 megabytes max, right? All the other stuff is this 10-year thing. So I think this is worth shipping next patch. And I think it's harmless. We don't risk deleting anything that's being reconciled, and we never panic if the deletion fails. We error out, so people will know memory is corrupted or whatever. That's why, that's the only reason why you couldn't delete something from the RAM disk. And it should be incredibly fast. You are just clearing memory. It's that should happen in milliseconds to clean up this garbage.
You don't even touch that memory, you just release the reference, right?
Exactly. And then it's up to the kernel to give the memory back to whatever, to the C group.
Yeah.
So yeah, it should be super fast, and I think it's important enough to not wait for 2.10 and do it in this patch release. So I'm going to wait today. If that guy does not opens a pull request, I'll do it tomorrow, right? And we can review it. So we can include that. I looked at Helm controller does not have this issue. Helm controller does not need the 10-year. It unpacks the Helm chart in memory. Where we could have the same problem is in source controller on its own temdir. But source controller routing out of memory, it's has a different profile than customized controller, right? But I
What
think
about
also,
source watcher? Those are the ones that touch disk the most.
let me think if source watcher uses temp. Yes, it does. Right. But we don't have in our documentation uh, do run disk for source controller and source watcher, but some people could do it, right? It will also speed up source controller a lot if you have like it needs to clone a repo with a Git history of 100 megabyte using a RAM disk will like speed up things tremendously. So, right, we could actually do it everywhere. It's definitely urgent for customized controller to do it, but maybe we should have this umbrella issue and track it. And once we, if I implement in customized controller, then definitely someone else can pick it up and follow it and do the same for source controller and source watcher. They need also, oh, also image automation controller. It does
Hmm.
a clone on its own, right? Same problem, even bigger, because it creates branches locally. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, so yeah, good point. I'll create an umbrella issue for this once I figure out how it goes in customized controller.
Cool.
Also for the empty dir that sits right on the node, we are using so much of the node storage. If we leave behind all these directories on out of memory or any sig kill, it can
Yeah,
be
it adds pressure to the node, right?
yeah, yeah. And I don't think the node operating system cleans up the temp because I don't think it ends up in the temp. I think kubelet creates a mount for mtdir volume. So I don't think there is anyone to clean that up. Only our controller can do it, or on the pod delete, right? It definitely gets cleaned up the moment you update Flux or whatever. The moment the pod is killed, the mtdir
Yeah.
disappears. Doesn't matter if it's on
Hmm.
disk on memory. But yeah, um, while there is no pod deletion, it could fill and it keeps restarting, source control or whatever, it could actually fill the node disk. We could also consider recommending to people to set limits now. 5 years ago, that wasn't a thing, but right now Kubernetes supports limits for mtdir.
Hmm.
So we could add it to our docs as a patch, how you can patch all the Flux controllers because all of them have the same naming for the temp volume and temp mount. So a single patch could set a limit, I don't know, 100 gigabytes, 10 gigabytes, whatever, something that will not kill your nodes. And it's pure garbage. I mean, we don't need those files after reconciliation. It's over. Um, and we try to delete it, but yeah, if someone kills the controller, it's impossible to do it.
Right.
Well, so yeah, I don't think we have any other bug reported to fix in this one. Let me look a little bit at notification controller. No, it's all backported. All the bug fixes were already, we have already done them. Yeah, I think that's it. So after this patch release, we should start working on 2.10 roadmap.
Yeah.
Do you have everything you need now in Spiffy Spire upstream?
Yeah, like the yeah, like there's a few follow-up points, but they're super minor, and it's also due to my now like involvement with the project. They expect me to follow up with things, and like what we really need is in place. I should start working on the RFC.
Yeah. So what we need from the broker API, it is released and is part of the controller now. We have a Helm chart.
Yeah, like basically we import that for us, the interface is import GoSpiffy, and GoSpiffy has the generated gRPC client for broker API. That's it.
But
And
we want
there's
to
like
enter this. That do we have is the Spire
we
controller, right? It's called.
the Spire project I have like when I shipped the implementation of the API, I added tests. I think even with CRDs that look like a customization. So there's Flux stuff in Inspire code base now. So we can uh, with the end-to-end tests that we have Inspire proves that we can have end-to-end tests on our side as well when we implement Docker API. So we have all you need to have end-to-end tests. Like we should no longer block on the things I'm missing shipping on that side. It's not they are not core things. At this point, the core of the feature is there.
Oh, okay. So besides this, we also need to work on notification controller.
Yeah.
Um, Review the pull requests for the moving to Kubernetes API events V1.
Hmm.
I think everything is rebased. So that's more about reviewing them and deciding order to merge them. And
Yeah.
then we still need some changes in notification controller APIs as well. For example, one of the more requested feature is, we have like this inclusion and exclusion lists, which are regexes on top of the message, which can be very brittle. What what many people desire is, can we have inclusion and exclusion based on reasons which are part of our API, are documented, are in package, all the controllers use them, right? So instead of having like regexes that, crawl the message text for keywords, we could offer include exclude for a list of strings, which are the reasons. Include reason, exclude reason, right? And it's like super easy to implement. Um, they are already documented in each controller API spec. Maybe that will be an improvement. Have a table published um, in the event API doc with these are all the possible reasons, right? And list them there so people don't have to read like uh, 12 API docs to figure out all the reasons. If there are like in 80% of the cases, the reasons overlap. Customized controller has some special reasons of its own. Helm controller has some special reasons like rollback that only exists there. Um, so it's quite hard to figure out all of them. So maintaining a single table um, should be okay because we are not going to change them anyway. They are part of the GA APIs. Those reasons will stick for. there forever. We are going to add other reasons, but we'll never delete or rename a reason, right? That's not going to happen, and they are not like crazy verbose as well. They are um, quite compact. You also created that issue with templating.
Yeah, there's
We
templating. There's also that thing that someone asked for. Um, what was it? Do you remember that I suggested like an annotation with a big cell expression that extracts data from the event and yeah, it extracts custom like transforms metadata with data from the object. Like for example, in resource set input provider that person wanted that very weird format for the tags. Uh, I wonder if it was Git tags or what it was OCI tags, but like they wanted the event to have data from the object,
Yes, and we
which
support this
is
only
cool.
for the commit ID, right? There we have a cell expression that allows you to extract
Yeah,
data from there. And we also have it in the, we also do something similar for the webhook, right? Because with the webhook, you can take data from the webhook to figure out what exactly needs to be reconciled, what Git repo or what image repository and so on. So we already have like two constructs with cell that are either looking at events coming from outside with the webhook or the Flux event itself to compose the ID of the commit status,
commit stats. Yeah.
right? So
hmm So two more things would be like message template, which is something that has been asked for since forever. I asked for it once, uh, but we never did it because, there's a lot to consider.
because
There's a lot of providers to
eventing is
integrate
not
with.
GA. Event is not GA,
Yeah,
and that's why I say no. But now if Flux event will match the Kubernetes event, we promote it to V1, these fields will not change. So we can offer a template exactly like image automation has for the commit,
right,
right? And we document these are the fields that we expose in the template. They will not change. They match Kubernetes V1 event. Go wild with it.
right.
Like you can then do
Yeah,
like a for
whatever payload you
there,
want.
like whatever you want, and you swap the message that we uh, post now. We compose it. It's hard coded. You can swap that with your own template. If you specify a template, you are not going to inject the message anymore. We build a template and we send the result of the template instead of the raw message, what we do today. Right. So, and we use exactly the same library that image automation uses. So people will
Yeah.
not have
So
to
for
learn
yeah,
two templating languages or
yeah.
whatever, right?
Yeah, because this is text, right? It's a message. We use what we use there, which is Go templates. And then for metadata, which is structured data, it's not text. We can use cell because cell can do like in that issue, I posted a cell expression that does a crazy loop and the transformation and emits an object like a map, right? Of string key values, and we could attach it to the metadata of the event. So two fields, message and metadata. We could provide powerful things to both. And in the
Oh,
case, yeah,
wait, now I remember. Yeah. So there is a big problem with maps. And I think I merged this. Oh yeah, man. So this one. And I couldn't backport it because we don't have the backport is broken. But this needs to go into the patch. So what happens? We have this, we use a Go map for the metadata, right? Exactly. That's why it triggered me when you said, oh, cell can return a map. Maps are
Hmm.
not ordered in Go, they are random.
Right?
So
Hmm.
every time on Slack and all the things, they flip. Once it posts with a version URL, whatever, one URL version, whatever, right? Only some providers use some their own type and they do the ordering server side, but most of them, we send a map and it's not ordered. And I merged the pull request that does this. So after you update you said like 3 days, the cooldown, right? We need
Yeah.
to bump workflows, get backport running again, and we really need to backport this one and include it in the patch. This is a
Okay.
good fix. And when we do the cell stuff, cell will feed into the metadata. It will basically replace the metadata map. This ordering will still work the same. And that's it. But I definitely agree. I don't want to have two Go templates, one for the message and a weird template to create a map of
A
metadata.
map.
Makes no sense.
Yeah.
Cell is
Cell
perfect
is
for
better for that.
this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we we can offer people like full customization of the
Of the events.
alert,
Sounds exciting.
right? Templating for message, cell for metadata. And with this, we can finally promote it to V1 and have the notification controller fully GA in November. No, October, end of October. Right?
Yeah. I would really love it if it's mid-November. I mean, it's a lot of work. Like
No,
I
no, we need to
would
release
try.
before KubeCon, man.
Oh yeah. Which
Oh
is in the
no,
first 2 weeks of November, right?
yes. So,
Oh.
and we
Yeah,
need
I'm gonna try and reduce as much as I can on the SPIFFy side to ship things across releases, not everything on this one, obviously. So we can do both things because it's a lot, right? Like we have a big RFC plus all of this.
yeah,
So
yeah.
we're
But with
gonna need
notification
help.
controller is straightforward. You could actually work on the templating side and sell side. It's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
But the only blocker, and this is very important, please look at the pull requests that are making event GA, right? Because everything is blocked on this. We really need to get event V1 into package, promote it to V1, and then doing the template and sell should be smooth sailing because it's not complicated. We already did it before. We have good examples, good libraries everywhere, right? What image automation does, test the templating exactly like that should be used for notification controller message. How we use cell in all parts of Flux, that's how we are going to use to create a map. Maybe you need to add a helper to return a map, right? And that's it. So it's like these changes are all blocked on event v1. So that will be like in my mind a top priority, figuring out what's happening with those pull requests. Because if we can't merge them, then we need to drop everything from 2.10 related notification controller and put it in 2.11, right? Because we are not going to offer templating and anything on an API that will change. And then have people migrating templates is a nightmare. I've seen it with image automation controller. There is no way to, verify them with at admission. It's really bad. So I think we really need to figure out, is event in V1 okay? Definitely Kubernetes has it now, has all the things that we need. But if it doesn't, then we drop it, we move
Yeah.
it from the
We
roadmap.
we and we can do like controller runtime that merged this new API from the Kubernetes Go libraries. before 27 was released, like some from main branch or some, I don't know, whatever version they merged in controller runtime, which is not a released version. We can do the same for controller runtime. We don't need
Yeah.
to in our main branches we can put controller runtime unreleased
Yeah. If
version
it's
to
stable
have
and
this.
if it's in client Go, we have that interface for adding annotation, which that's what we discovered blocked us
Mm-hmm.
completely from moving to John because events v1 is like 3 years old. There
Mm-hmm.
is no problem there. It's not with the API. The problem is
Mm-hmm.
client Go does not have annotate
Mm-hmm.
event for, and
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
completely blocked us because all that discussions like, come on, man, put the annotation back. We actually using this shit.
We have GA APIs based on this,
Yeah,
man.
it's like it's everywhere. Uh, and no, we don't use it as an MQ. Like we have other approach, right? And these annotations are all the tests rely on them. It's not a thing that we don't use Kubernetes events or notifications, right? Notification controller receives its own event, which is over HTTP, has nothing to do with Kubernetes events. But everything that we do in all controllers, all the testing is have the Kubernetes events the right annotations, right? That's how we lock the whole feature down. Now, if that goes away, it's like we need to rewrite everything, all the tests. Then whoever collects events in Loki, in Elasticsearch, and so on, we have to tell those people, sorry, all the annotations are gone.
Yeah,
You've
events don't
integrated
need
for nothing.
metadata.
Yeah. Now, instead
Events
of
with no
collecting
metadata.
Kubernetes events, you need to use notification controller as a sink in Loki and all the other things, right? Because you can't get them from there. So you need to have you need to implement a generic receiver for notification controller, right? Set everything so notification controller dumps the events in your receiver and then store it in Elasticsearch or Loki. Like it's insane amount of work just because they consider, adding annotations to events is bad, but every single Kubernetes object supports them. It's like, man, yeah, I really hope this, but that pull
No,
request
yeah, and
got
it was
merged,
just
right?
in the Go libraries, right? Because it works on the server. The server accepts
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. It has nothing to do with the server. It's just client Go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. But I think that pull request got merged. So we need to track it down and see what's the status. Let's ping
Adrian,
Adrian. Yeah. Yeah. So please talk to Adrian to understand where we are.
cool.
And if he says, because I've seen he rebased a lot of pull requests, he said like, this is good to go. We should not wait and do it, right? Review, merge, and that unblocks templating, cell, filtering based on reasons. There's nothing to do with the event V1. That's all our stuff. So that can also go as soon as possible, and it's very easy to do. We have an issue for that. I'll add it to the roadmap, that issue, so we don't allow filtering alerts by event reason, not just message. This one from 3 weeks ago. Yeah, and I think that's it. Mm. So the takeaway for me is update the roadmap for notification controller. But you didn't create that issue, right? We sell that compiles the metadata. So you should do that. You should create an
Yeah,
issue in notification controller.
I think I created or was it in Flux too? What I did, it's in the roadmap. Let me see. Um, roadmap. template if custom event metadata from object. Yeah, it's in Flux too. Let me see. Here. The person who asked for the feature upvoted the issue.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So
Middle
instead of
row.
having all this stuff, we should have it in the. So this expression will be part of the spec of the alert, right? Like the template.
Back of the alert. Yeah, the thing is that in this, it's because in the annotation of the object that is the what is generating the event, it can then like it's using fields of that object, right? Like so it's like object.status.exported inputs and blah blah blah. So putting on the alert, because the alert can match multiple objects which have different types, therefore different schemas. I'm thinking that an annotation on the object
No, no, think about it.
is
It's the same stuff that we do in the webhook, where you receive some JSON, you feed the JSON to the cell expression, and the cell expression will have has whatever has kind resource set input provider generate this metadata.
yeah. In the we pass now I need to remember if we pass the provider object, the alert object, and the object itself. Three objects. I think we may pass uh, all of these three objects to commit status expression. But now that you mentioned it, and I maybe in retrospect, that was not the best thing to do. Like because of what I just said. Imagine imagine writing cell expressions based on fields of different object types, like right? Each Flux object has its own fields. So how do you write an expression based on that for for an alert that matches different Flux kinds? That's the point I'm making now for these because this feature is the use case is using fields from the object, mainly the object, right? Like the use case is literally I want to see tag and digest for a research set input provider that has those things. So it makes a lot of sense to put this on the object and in another object with, let's say, a resource set, not a resource set input provider, that also matches the same alert. The alert matches both objects,
Yeah, yeah, right.
right? Then it
And
makes
then
more
you,
sense to write it at object level, which
it's
now
complicated to write a switch in cell
exactly
because
like cell
that
can
will be
go ugly
like,
fast.
yeah, because you if you
Yeah.
have an alert that matches all Flux objects, and then you want to say, oh, if I'm receiving the event from the customization, I want this custom metadata. But if it's a hand
Mm-hmm.
release, I want this other custom metadata. If it's this, I want that.
Mm-hmm.
There is not
Mm-hmm.
like a in Go switch kind and have this nice
Cell will get ugly fast.
cell. We
Right.
have like has and anonymous function has and right. Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
there,
it
there
like
must there must be a way, but it's going to look horrible.
no, it is a way. It is a way with anonymous functions and or
Yeah.
between has expressions, but it will look. No one will ever be able to debug that.
to- Yeah, exactly. So I
Yeah,
guess this
okay,
brings
let's go with the annotation. But this means
yeah.
this is not actually a feature in notification controller. has nothing to do with notification controller. Is the
Yeah, not
responsibility of the event issuer, which are all
library.
the other
Yeah.
controllers, to say, oh, I have this annotation, metadata expression. I'm going to run the cell and I'm going
Yeah.
to swap the default metadata that gets appended with the result of the map, order the map in there,
Yeah, or merge, right? Like we remember when we did
or merge.
RFC
Yeah.
8. Yeah, RFC 8. We had a long discussion with Sunny about the order of the precedence of
Yeah,
all
we
the
need to merge
keys that
because then
compose.
we
Yeah,
have
we
to
have
merge.
important things like fields from the controller, like origin revision, stuff like that, right?
Yeah, and the stuff with the commit status that customized control sends that ping at the end.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so there are many things we
So,
can't drop those. But what we
yeah,
can do exactly like we we offer something in the package cell library, a helper that takes the expression, an unstructured object, and returns a map. And we make sure the map is ordered when we return it.
yeah.
That's in the function. And then we merge this with
Yeah,
the
we basically it's literally the implement I mean one of the implementation points of RFC 8, which is in the side inside the runtime event library,
uh,
right? Like the
yes,
literally our wrapper around that interface that we asked Kubernetes to bring back, the annotated event F. That's where all our code lies for fanning out the event to Kubernetes and C. And that's where we inject custom event metadata from RFC8. It's gonna be the same place where we're gonna inject the result of the cell expression. We're gonna call the cell library there.
yeah. And this should end up in the RFC as a addendum,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Is
yeah.
belongs there. You should create a pull request with the an addendum with the date and add this specification to the body of the RFC because it complements that RFC. That RFC
Hmm.
comes up with, let's say, unique keys,
Static simple
static
way
keys,
to inject
but
keys. Yeah,
now we are going further and we allow people to compose their own metadata based only on the origin object, right? So their customized controller will call it with the customization object, Helm with the Helm release, right? And whatever is in the object, you can do whatever you want there, right? Parse status, parse source ref, you can do a bunch of stuff. Um, cool. Okay. So the
and
takeaway is add an addendum to the RFC. That's the best thing. Without closing the issue, you reference the issue, but should definitely be in the RFC.
maybe we could also put some thought into this retrospect about how we did commit status cell expression, because obviously it's already GA stable, right? Like the use case came from someone, they implemented it, they filed a PR, and now it's the same expression for all objects. Maybe think if we need to support it at the object level as well, like this. I don't know. Like, I mean, now I mean, it's always a matter of what use cases actually show up, right? I need this. Someone needs specifically this, and we addressed it, and now it's like that. But you get what I mean? Like now I'm thinking about this. If the cell
Yeah,
expression for the but I mean no, the cell expression has to be super simple. Like it's completely different in this case. Like in this use case here, I want to compose a map of arbitrary metadata. The cell expression
it's
can be
a
very complex.
yeah. While in the other case, with the commit status is a single line where you say,
ID,
I want ID plus namespace or ID plus something, and it
yeah, yeah,
always
yeah, yeah.
always returns a string. right? There are very different use cases. I don't want to
And
return a
yeah.
map that, and then what to do with the map? Put the map in the commit status, flatten it is like, no.
No, no, I mean, like, I was wondering, the commit state still has to be a simple ID that the expression generates, but I was wondering if you wanted to use a field from the object, like here, then it would be hard. But I don't think this will ever be a use case. Like, you won't ever need a complex field of an object to compose a commit status ID ever, right? Then. Yeah, I guess we can leave that as is, and that's it. You have the object, like if you want to write an ugly cell expression on your alert that takes object fields into consideration, you can, because because we get the object in notification controller when we are, or do we? I don't remember now. But-
Oh, we only have the metadata.
right, we don't get
We
the
don't
object.
we don't get the object
Yeah,
because the object is too big.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you don't get the object, and getting the object will put so much
Yeah,
pressure on the on notification controller. It needs to query the object. The object is not in the event, so it actually needs to query all these objects for research setting
mhm,
purpose. It doesn't even have the RBAC to do it, right? So it's like,
right,
no, no. I think it's way better, like you say, like is the event issuer responsibility to
yeah,
figure out to compose the map, and we make this very easy by exposing a helper in the runtime cell library.
right,
And you are definitely right. It's a extension of the RFC, which is all about controllers do this kind of transformation, labeling, whatever, on their own, and they just send it to notification controller. Notification controller does not have to just ingest the metadata and it forwards it. Uh,
right.
cool.
Also, I just checked the commit status expression field, and the cell context has three keys: event, provider, and alert. There's no
Yes.
object as we, yeah.
No, it
It's
can't be any
just
object
the
because the
keys.
object is too heavy and we can't send it.
Yeah, yeah.
It will
Mhm.
the because of status inventory that can be huge. We can't put the object in the event because the event will go over the etcd limit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a
If
no-go.
people decide to do that with a cell expression, it's up to them.
Yeah, it will hit the limit.
Yeah.
It will error out
They'll
on
have to
the
debug it and deal with it and choose what to do.
yeah, but it will fail on the Kubernetes event side. It will not fail for notification controller because notification controller. Oh, also notification controller. I think we added a cap of 2 MB. So yeah, it will fail if you have like massive object and you. But it's crazy, man. Why would you put everything that's in status and metadata? That's really crazy. Anyway, if someone does it, it will have to deal with the error, which will probably be some exotic HTTP error or something like that. You'll have no clue this is happening. Yeah, every single feature gives the user a possibility to shoot themselves in the foot. That's the reality. Nothing we can do about it.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, I need to go back to do the. I'll push some patches for package after you do the Helm upgrades. I'll ping you. Okay.
Cool.
Cool. Okay.
All right.
Bye bye everyone. Have a nice day. Bye Kingdom.
Making them.
Yeah, Kingdom started the recording, so he'll figure out how to stop it. Bye.
Bye.